Okay, so I need you to stay with me on this one. Because this is not a loud story. Nobody throws a glass. Nobody screams across a restaurant. The woman at the center of the story barely raises her voice the entire night. But what she does instead, at her own birthday dinner, in front of both of them, that is the kind of thing people talk about for years. Welcome to Thread Stories. This is Dana's story, and it starts with a name on a phone screen that was only visible for 2 seconds. He brought another woman to my birthday dinner, introduced her as a coworker, pulled out her chair before he pulled out mine, and I let him, because I had been waiting 3 weeks for exactly this. My name is Dana, married 6 years, and until about 5 weeks before that dinner, I would have told anyone who asked that we were solid. Not perfect, not romantic comedy material, but solid. The kind of marriage that works because both people have decided it works. I thought we had that. Then his phone lit up on the kitchen counter while he was in the shower. A name I had never seen. A woman's name. Gone before I could read the message. I put the phone down. I told myself it was nothing. But I started paying attention after that. Not in a paranoid way. More like the way you suddenly notice a sound in your house that was probably always there. 2 weeks later, I was in our shared expense app looking for a grocery charge. What I found instead was a hotel. Mid-range place, downtown. Tuesday night, that same week, he had told me he was staying late for a client deadline. I sat with that for a long time. Then I went back further. 2 restaurant charges, a place I'd never heard of, not near his office, expensive enough to be a date. Both on Tuesdays, both in the evening, both in the past 3 months. In the pocket of a jacket he had not worn since early spring, I found a gift receipt. A bracelet. Delicate. Not my style. The return date had already passed. That was the moment I knew. I did not confront him. I know people always ask why not. But I had one clear thought that night, standing in our closet holding that receipt. If I confront him now, he will delete everything, and I will have a screaming match and nothing else. So I did something different. I photographed everything. The hotel charge, the restaurant charges, the gift receipt. I printed screenshots and organized them by date. I called a lawyer, not dramatically, just to understand my options. She was calm and practical. She had the divorce papers ready in a week. I asked her to put them in a manila folder. My birthday was in 11 days. He had already made the reservation, a nice Italian place I had wanted to try for months. Originally, he said it was just the 2 of us. 2 days before, he mentioned he had invited a coworker. New to the city, did not know anyone. Would I mind? I said, of course not. Her name was Renee. She was pretty, easy smile, good at a room. She shook my hand at the door and said, Happy birthday, Dana. I feel like I already know you. I smiled, because I heard what was underneath that sentence. We sat at a round table near the window. Warm lighting, low music, the kind of restaurant that makes everything feel more intimate than it is. Marcus ordered wine for the table without asking what I wanted. Old habit. This time I ordered my own glass. The appetizers came. They talked about work, a project, a manager, office politics. She was careful to include me, kept asking questions, laughing, turning toward me. And I understood what she was doing. She was performing normal. She was good at it. Then it happened. We were talking about weekend plans, and she mentioned she had never been to the botanical gardens on the east side. She looked at me and said, Marcus told me you are not really a big outdoor person, that you are more of a stay-home, quiet weekend type. She said it easily, offhandedly, like she was just making conversation. I looked at her, then at him, because anyone who knows me knows that is not true. I have hiked every trail within an hour of this city. We have season passes to the gardens she just mentioned. I have dragged Marcus there 4 times in the last 2 years alone. He was looking at his wine glass. She had been told a version of me that made it easier for her to be there. That was when I understood the full shape of what he had built. He had not just had an affair. He had constructed a whole second story, a version of our marriage that made it convenient, a version of me that made her comfortable. Small details fed to her over time, reshaping who I was until I fit neatly into the role of the woman he was leaving. I took a slow breath. I picked up my fork. I kept eating. But I also thought about the folder in my purse, and I felt something settle into place. The main course arrived. Conversation moved to easier things. The neighborhood, the restaurant, whether the tiramisu here was worth ordering. Marcus said, Dana does not really like surprises, almost fondly, like he was offering Renee an inside look at our marriage. Like it was something charming and personal to share. Renee smiled. Then she said, almost gently, That is funny, actually. He told me this whole dinner was kind of for closure. She said it the way you say something you think everyone at the table already knows. I set my glass down, carefully, slowly, because suddenly the restaurant felt smaller. Closure. I looked at her. She had the expression of someone who had just realized, mid-sentence, that the room had gone quieter than expected. A small hesitation in her eyes, checking mine. I said, Is that what he called it? Not a question. Just a statement I let sit there. Marcus reached for the bread basket. Dana, come on! I am just curious, I said. About the word. He looked at me then, and I looked back. And I think in that moment he understood that the evening he had planned, whatever version of this he had imagined, was not the one he was going to get. I smiled. I picked up my fork again. The pasta is incredible, I said. You should try the pasta. About 20 minutes later, Renee said something that confirmed what I had suspected all along. We had moved on to talking about the city, how long each of us had lived here, and she said almost gently, I have to say, Dana, you seem really grounded. Given everything, you seem really okay. I looked at her directly. Given what everything? A small pause. Her eyes moved to him for just a fraction of a second. He did not look up. She said, I just meant the transition. People handle things differently. I nodded slowly. What transition is that? Another pause. Longer this time. She thought we were separated. He had told her we were already in the process of ending things, that I knew, that we were cohabitating while we figured out logistics, that this dinner was some kind of final formality he needed to get through. She had not come to my birthday dinner as someone's secret. She had come because she thought the secret was already out. He had lied to both of us. I looked at him then, really looked at him. He was cutting into his food with complete focus, jaw tight, and I thought, he knew this moment might come. He had prepared for neither version of it. I said, I am great, actually. This has been a really nice evening. And I meant it. Because we were about to get to dessert. The tiramisu came. He had ordered it for me, my favorite, same as every year, even now. 6 years of muscle memory operating right up until the end. I let the plates settle. I let the waiter pour the coffees. I let the table go quiet in the pleasant way tables go quiet when a meal is winding down. Then I reached into my purse and placed the folder on the table. Not with drama, just set it down, between the glasses where all three of us could see it. He looked at it. What is that? Open it! The first page was the hotel receipt, the downtown hotel, Tuesday night, the night of his late client deadline, printed, highlighted, date and room type clearly visible. He stared at it. Behind that, the 2 restaurant charges, dates highlighted, Tuesday evenings, one of them 4 days after Renee said he had told her I did not like going out. Behind that, a photo of the gift receipt for the bracelet, return window closed, never mentioned to me. Behind that, a printed log of his message thread with her number, not the content, just the volume. 43 messages in a single week, all sent between 8 and 11 at night. The weeks he told me he was tired and went to bed early. He had stopped touching his fork. Renee was very still. I watched her eyes move across the pages from where she was sitting. She could see enough. The hotel, the dates, the volume of it. And she was doing the same arithmetic I had done 5 weeks ago, arriving at the same answer, except she was doing it at a candlelit dinner table in real time. Her expression was not anger at me. It was something quieter, the specific look of someone recalculating everything they thought they understood about the last several months. At the back of the folder, there was a plain white envelope with his name on it, handwritten. He picked it up slowly, he turned it over, he opened it. Divorce papers, prepared by my attorney with my signature already waiting where it needed to be. He set the envelope down. He said my name. I am not going to fight with you, I told him. I am not going to make a scene. I just needed you to know that I have known. For 3 weeks, I have sat in our house and known, and I chose to do this cleanly instead of messily. That is the last thing I am going to do for you. Renee looked at him. Not at me. At him. And the look on her face said everything about what she was starting to understand. "You told me it was over," she said to him, quietly. Not for my benefit. Just a fact she needed to say out loud. He did not answer. She nodded once, slowly, like something was falling into place that she had been trying not to look at directly. She picked up her purse. She looked at me for just a moment. There was no smirk, no triumph, no villain. Just a woman who had been handed a very different story than the one she had believed. She left without another word. He sat there with the folder open in front of him, tiramisu going soft in the candlelight. I stood up. I put on my coat. I looked at him one last time. And I said, "Happy birthday" to me. Then I walked out. People ask if I regret how I handled it. If I wish I had said more, hit harder, made it uglier. I do not. I had exactly one chance to leave that marriage on my own terms, and I took it. I walked out of that restaurant on my birthday with my back straight, the bill still sitting beside him, and my dignity completely intact. He ordered my favorite dessert out of 6 years of habit right up until the last night, and I still left. That is the thing about knowing your own worth. It does not always feel like power in the moment. It just feels like clarity. And clarity, it turns out, is enough. Some doors you do not get to close gently. You just have to make sure it is you who closes it. And that night, I finally did. If this story stayed with you, leave a comment below. And if you want more stories like this one, you know what to do. Thread Stories will be right here.